Hi everyone, and welcome to the second video in a series that I'm doing in collaboration with Cape Town Music Academy. So this series is focusing on how to work with your own mind as a musician, and we're looking at cognitive distortions, or the ways that your mind can kind of play tricks on you and get you into a negative thinking space and a negative feeling space. So today we're looking at mind reading. And as the name implies, mind reading means that you think you know what other people are thinking, or you know what kind of attitudes or intentions they hold without sufficient evidence. And this is something that musicians actually struggle with quite a lot. I know lots of musicians personally who struggle with mind reading, and I've also had my own struggles with mind reading. So the way that it might play out for musicians, it can happen in lots of different ways. But let's say, for instance, you're auditioning for something. You're auditioning for a spot in a band or an orchestra, and as you're playing, these thoughts come up in your mind, and you think that you know what the judges are thinking. You think that they're thinking that you're not playing well enough, you don't have what it takes, and they're just definitely not going to pick you for the position that you're auditioning for. Or it could happen when you're playing with a group of new musicians or jamming, and while you're trying to make music, your mind is throwing up all these thoughts that they think it's not gelling because of you, they think your playing's not up to it, they're not enjoying playing with you, that kind of thing. Or it can even happen, when you're performing, or one of your compositions is being performed and you're in the audience, or when you're performing yourself on stage and you look around, you look into the audience, and suddenly you see someone and they have an expression on your face, and you just know that they're not enjoying the music, they're not enjoying your performance, they think you're not good. All of these kinds of things. Those are all examples of mind reading. And you can just imagine what that does to you as a musician. In fact, if you start to pay attention to what happens when mind reading is happening, you can actually feel a contraction. The whole body just kind of contracts. Everything becomes a bit tight, a bit tense. And of course, when that happens, we're not able to access that flow state that you can experience when engaging with music. It inhibits your creativity. It inhibits your spontaneity, it inhibits your playfulness and your ability to just freely engage with the other people you're playing with, or in whatever way you're interacting with music at that particular time. So what do we do about it? So as with all cognitive distortions, the first thing to do is to become aware, because awareness or mindfulness is our biggest and most important tool in working with our own mind. So start to become aware of when mind reading happens. Are there certain situations that make it more likely? Are there certain situations in which it's worse or more intense? Are there certain situations in which it's kind of harder for you to shift out of it when you start noticing it? Now, with mind reading, often noticing that it's happening might just be enough to help you to snap out of it. Because, of course, the reality that we can always remind ourselves of is that we don't know what other people are thinking. They might be thinking something completely different to what you imagine. I mean, I'm a psychologist, and trust me, if mind reading was possible, they would definitely be teaching it to us. But they don't, because it's not. So you can remind yourself of that, and just noticing might just be enough to help you to shift out of it. However, if mind reading is more persistent, if you're really struggling to bring yourself back to the present moment when you notice that it's happening, and bring yourself back to a more creative and a more musical space, there might be things that you think about yourself, or attitudes that you have about yourself, feelings that you have about yourself, that are playing out here. Because oftentimes what makes mind reading more likely to happen is if we're actually struggling with confidence, or we're struggling with self-esteem. And so what we do then is we project our own thoughts and feelings about ourselves onto other people, and we think that they think and feel about us the way that we actually think and feel about ourselves. And we do this all the time. And so if that's something that's happening with you, and if you're finding it hard to shift yourself out of the habit of mind reading, then that might be something that you want to take into counseling or a therapy, and to work with it with a bit more depth, because confidence is a big thing as a musician. It's a very vulnerable thing to do, to put yourself out there musically, and we want to be able to feel free to do that. And if you're struggling with confidence, self-esteem, and it's constantly leading to mind reading, then that might be something that you want to pay specific attention to. Okay, so that was mind reading. Next time we're going to be tackling another cognitive distortion, and this one is called personalization. So until then, take care, stay safe, see you next time.